Hey guys, this is Brian Jones from Valhalla Academy in Frankfort, Kentucky, and this is an exclusive for MixedMartialWorld.com. Today's topic is the deadlift and its applications for grappling. I get asked a lot of questions about which exercises are best for grapplers. If you had to pick one exercise for a grappler, which one it would be? Those are difficult questions to answer, but I can definitely tell you that I always answer the deadlift. If I could pick three, the deadlift would be one of them. If I could pick two, the deadlift would be one of them. It may be if I could pick one, the deadlift would probably be the primary lifting exercise that I would do. So what we're going to do now is go through some of the technique in the deadlift to make sure you're doing it correctly. And then I'm going to show you some applications so you can see how it translates directly into grappling strength. Alright guys, let's start with the front view of the deadlift. There are a lot of different variations of the deadlift. We're going to go with a conventional style deadlift rather than a sumo style or some other between the leg style that you might see out there because we're not interested in necessarily competing, trying to find our strongest style. We're going to go with the conventional style because I think it has the greatest applicability to jiu-jitsu. We're going to start with a double over grip. Okay, as the weight gets heavier, you're probably going to want to switch your grips over and under, kind of mixed grip. So we're going to start with the basic deadlift. You're going to want to use weights. I've got 45-pound bumper plates on here. If you don't have weights that are the same diameter as a normal 45-pound plate, then you're going to want to elevate this so that the bar is at about the height that it is right now. So they make training plates. They make 45-pound, 25-pound, 35-pound bumper plates, also different kilos. So the height of the bar is important because that determines how far you have to go down in your squat. So what we're going to do here is we're going to find the knurling here on the bar, and we're kind of center up to it, so we'll make sure in the center of the bar. We want to take a stance, and the stance width is going to be somewhat individual. But I'm going to tell you to take about a little bit wider than shoulder width stance, okay? And we're going to get the bar up until it's almost touching our shins. From here, we're going to, with our chest forward, we're going to squat down here and grab the bar. I like to grab the bar just outside my legs, okay? You're either going to have to go outside your legs or inside your legs. If you go inside your legs, you're going to need a little bit wider stance. Okay, it's okay. It's again individualized. That's not really a big issue. So I'm going to go just outside my legs. I'm going to grip, and then I'm going to look forward. I'm going to try to bring my chest up. Okay. So what I did was I put some tension on the bar after I squatted down, I brought my hips up slightly so that there was a little bit of an initial pull, and I felt like I was driving my legs into the floor. I took the slack out of my shoulders. I brought my shoulder blades back to retraction slightly, and I'm going to brace my abs by making my stomach big, by pushing my abs out. Sometimes this is going to leave you with your mouth open, and a lot of times that you'll see that. It's called the Valsalva maneuver. It's a very common technique to help brace your abdominals. So, the technique is we bend down, we get our grip on the bar, we squat down, brace, and take the slack out. From here, we're going to push into the floor and lead upwards with our chest and head. So, notice that the first thing that moved was not my back, and we're going to see this from the side angle too. So I want to start the movement, I want to try to initiate it by driving my feet into the floor, and the first thing to truly move, we should focus on moving our back up so that we hinge at the hips. Okay, we're hinging at the hips as opposed to rounding our back and pulling with their lower back. Okay, so one more rep. Good. Notice another thing. I'm not doing a slow negative or a slow eccentric. I am controlling it till it gets to about my knee level or slightly below, and then I'm letting it go so that it drops on the floor. The deadlift is not a lift where you're supposed to go down slow. Okay? You do the upward lift, and then you control the bar just enough to keep it from bouncing all over the place. And some gyms will kick you out, but that's just the way it is. That's just the way the technique goes. So ideally you would have bumper plates or at least some sort of rubber surface that you could do these on, so you can kind of drop the weights a little bit. Now I want to look at the mixed grip. When the weights start to get heavy, they start to pull out of your hand. Your grip can become the limiting factor. Now we could tie ourselves in, we could use a lot of wraps and straps and grips, but in my opinion, if I can't lift something because my grip is too weak, then I can't lift it. So I don't like to use a lot of things like belts and all that. I try to brace my abdominals so that I don't have a belt on when I'm grappling, so I'm not going to wear a belt when I'm lifting. I'm just going to get strong abdominals. I don't have extra straps and grips when I'm working out on the mat, so I'm not going to use that stuff in the weight room either. So what I want to do is, but by turning our one hand over, so supination and pronation, one supinated, one pronated, we can develop a little bit better grip strength. It gives us a little bit of an edge without using some sort of artificial device. So I'm going to demonstrate that now. So you slide this over. I don't have collars on these bars, so the weights are creeping off a little bit, but okay, so I'm squatting down, over and under. Doesn't really matter whichever side's more comfortable to you. Same thing. Good. Okay, now let's look at the other side, from the other angle. Okay, so here we are with the other angle. Basically, you're going to see a side view. I want you to notice the position of my back, the position of especially my lower back and upper back. I don't want to maintain a hard arch this way, but I want a slight curvature, a slightly lordotic posture, so that when the weights get heavier and they tend to pull me forward, then I have some give and it's strengthening my spinal erector muscles. Also, I want to maintain tension in my shoulders, but I'm not going to do a shrug with every rep. Okay? I'm not trying to curl it. I'm not trying to flex my wrist. My arms are attaching the bar to my upper body so that I can lift, but they're not acting in any real capacity to actually pull the weight up. Okay? They're just trying to keep my shoulder blades. I want I don't want to pull my shoulders out of socket, so I need to keep some sort of tension here. And I want a neutral head position with my eyes slightly like straight ahead or just slightly down. I don't want to be looking at the floor necessarily. I also don't want to be looking at the sky. So I want to try to focus on something that is more or less straight ahead, or again straight ahead and slightly down. Watch the hip hinge. Okay, so my butt is going back as I drop down to set for the motion. Okay, good. So that is the technique for the deadlift. I recommend the following things. Add weight slowly. Okay, it's always better to progress a little bit slowly, a little bit more slowly than add too much weight too soon. Make sure that you have the technique nailed down. A video camera is actually a really good tool if you don't have a coach to critique your form. I want you to treat every rep as a single rep. So let's say you're going to do a set of 3 reps. A set of 3 reps would look something like this. Okay, there was a pause because I want to make sure that I get into a proper lifting position between each rep. Okay, if I do high rep dumbbell or kettlebell exercises, I can touch and go because the weight is not heavy enough to pull me out of position. If I'm going for doubles, triples, singles, or even sets of 5, I like to reset. You know, you can stand up if you want, or maybe you don't want to stand up. But resetting your back between each part is important because as you get tired and over the course of the set, you're going to get worse and worse with your technique, and you might injure yourself on the last rep. So that is our basic deadlift, and now we're going to see some active grappling situations where this is going to come into play. And I want you to think about how the strength of the posterior chain, this motion of being able to lift, plays into the things that you're about to see.